I'm Michael Moreci, and joining me today, as always, is my intrepid, awesome co-host Keir Graff, and we have a special guest today. Joining us for this episode is producer Kevin Lau. Glad to have you guys both. Hello to both of you. Hello to everyone. We are here to talk about the new Knives Out movie, Knives Out: Wake Up Dead Man. But before we do, we all woke up to the sad news of Rob Reiner's passing. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. And we're not going to talk about much about the details of the event itself because there's not much that we know, and that's not really what we do here. But we do want to talk a little bit about his movies and his career and some of the films that spoke to us. So, Kevin, Keir, are there any movies in particular that he made or maybe that he was in that stand out to you? Kevin, Keir, why don't you go first? What are some Rob Reiner movies that you really appreciate?
Well, Rob Reiner is, and it's funny because I think people don't think of this as a Rob Reiner movie, but it made one of my all-time favorite movies about writers. As a novelist, I'm a fan of the often terrible genre of movies about writers, movies about novelists. But he made one of the best, based on the Stephen King novel Misery, starring James Caan and Kathy Bates. I rewatched that from time to time, and it just holds up. It's just excruciatingly delicious, like two amazing performances. And again, just a movie that you don't think of as being one of his because it's not his sensibility. I, maybe it is because there's dark humor in it and everything, but he's not somebody we associate with creeping dread. I would say he's somebody we associate with a lighter touch, a great comic sensibility, very insightful, very acerbic. But that is one of my all-time favorites. I'm curious, Kevin. What about you? What's one of your favorite Rob Reiner?
Gotta go with the classic Princess Bride. A really great adaptation of William Goldman's novel, and I know William Goldman helped pen the script too. As well, he's penning the adaptation for Misery. So, the Princess Bride will always be a classic and has stood the test of time, and has one of the best Criterion releases in my opinion too.
That's very true. Yeah.
In terms of cultural cult impact, that's probably the winner.
It is definitely his biggest hit.
Well, hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna walk us through because I think I've mentioned this to Keir. I have a giant soft spot for Rob Reiner. I truly love Rob Reiner. He's somebody who I think did not get the recognition he deserved then. I don't think he has gotten it now. But let's walk through his run of movies that he made. Starting with, you go to Spinal Tap, which is the greatest mockumentary ever made. I don't think there's anything close. I mean, Christopher, Guest is maybe, in that category. You can go with some Best in Show or something like that, but nothing really holds up to Spinal Tap. He made a John Cusack movie after, I forget the title of it. So there's that in between. But then you have a run of Princess Bride, which is, I don't know what the category is, greatest kid fantasy, movie. When Harry Met Sally, maybe the greatest rom-com of all time. Misery, arguably the greatest, like Keir said, one of the greatest movies about authors ever. Also, probably the greatest Stephen King adaptation ever. A Few Good Men in there as well, which is a movie that I absolutely adore. I mean, he had a run, and I think there's one in there that I'm forgetting too, but he had a run.
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, probably one of the best coming of age movie ever, and arguably also the best Stephen King adaptation ever. He has the 1-2 punch. I mean, that run of the best of the best to this is remarkable. And then he had North, which kind of dinged his career a little bit. But he came back and made The American President, which is a terrific romantic comedy drama. That's just, I mean, these are 7 for 9 in all-timers. I don't think you call A Few Good Men one of the best courtroom, dramas ever. Close, great script, great performances, great cast. But the diversity of movies he made, he's known as being witty and funny. He's Meathead, right? But he also made Stand By Me, A Few Good Men, Misery, it is a remarkable, unparalleled run. If that were winning titles in sports, he would be in the Hall of Fame.
When you think about these movies too, they have contributed some of the liners, the one-liners, the quotes, the indelible movie phrases that have just stuck in people's head. You know, from Princess Bride to When Harry Met Sally to A Few Good Men. We all know those iconic quotes.
You can't
I'll
handle
have
the
what
truth
she's
here.
having.
Yeah.
I don't think
Remember
that
when we
means
used to
what you
make
think it
movies
means.
in this country?
Bring movies back.
Yes, but I mean, now that I've rattled off some of those, are you still with your picks? Are the best Princess Bride and Misery? They're not bad picks, but I think sometimes things slip through the cracks in that filmography.
I still need to watch more Rob Reiner's filmography, but like I have seen Stand By Me. Misery, I want to read the book first before I watch the movie. But Stand By Me was also absolutely fantastic film. Princess Bride is much more aligned with my taste, but I think that kind of speaks to Rob Reiner's like diversity in his filmography as well. So there's definitely like a Rob Reiner movie for everyone.
Yeah, well said, Kevin. No, I am going to realign my take, and I'm going to say that John Cusack's A Sure Thing from 1985, the one you omitted, that's my favorite. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
My favorite was
I
North.
Spinal Tap is like it feels like it's so kind of mockumental, if I may say, that it almost stands above everything. I freaking love that movie. I mean, if it comes down to it, that's probably my favorite Rob Reiner. But I feel like Misery is one that maybe doesn't get quite as much love these days, or is not as remembered as well. And that's just one that I absolutely adore. I mean, I'm with you. Like he probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. And maybe it's because he was meathead. Maybe it was because he started out as a young actor in a sitcom that made his affable, goofy on-screen persona so indelible that it's hard for people to think of him as a director like, say, Billy Wilder, somebody we talk about a lot. And so maybe he doesn't get the credit, or maybe it's because was such a versatile Hollywood craftsman who was so adept at handling so many different things. I think sometimes those people, we've talked about this on the Filmographers quite a bit. Your Steven Soderberghs don't always get the credit they deserve because they adapt themselves to the material. They're not like I'm the auteur with the obsessive aesthetic, and I put my heavy stamp on everything I do. Rob Reiner's not that kind of guy. There's a little bit of a Reiner touch, but obviously he's capable of many different things. So I think you make a good point, Mike. But yeah, I'm comfortable with Misery being my sleeper deep cut.
No, you can't go wrong. I mean, I would personally, well, first before I go to mine, I do want to give a give a shout out, because if you want to read a visceral, scathing review, and we talk about Ebert a lot, and he is in our pantheon. His review of North, 0 stars.
That's a famous review.
That is a famous review. And if you can find the clip of him talking about talking about it on Siskel and Ebert, he's visibly angry. Like it is a remarkable, and I'm sure Reiner had a laugh about it. The movie didn't do well. It wasn't, whatever. Everyone has their flop. But it's just an interesting little bit of film history is Ebert's review of North. It's such an innocent, innocuous movie too, to really get upset about. But I would go with Harry Met Sally, because like, not only is it, what I love about that, what I think Rob Reiner nailed, and also I want to say, Keir, I appreciate you bringing up like how he didn't get appreciated because he wasn't quite, a craftsman. Although the one thing I will say about that, one of the two things I'll say about When Harry Met Sally is similar. We have an episode coming out on from the time of this recording, the week after, that's going to be looking at The Shop Around the Corner and You've Got Mail, and we spoke about how well directed You've Got Mail was, especially given the context of how awful movies look now. Nora Ephron's directing was really great, and New York looked great, and The Season looked great. When Harry Met Sally looks great. I mean, it just has this New York, again, same thing, New York, fall, winter, just it has a texture to it that movies don't have anymore, depth, dimensions. It's just such a well crafted, great looking movie. Not to mention, like, it's also feels very human, captures some of the stuff that Wilder does. It's a little bit cynical. Billy Crystal's character is a little bit mean, and he's a little bit angry, and he's a little bit dark. And Meg Ryan experiences some of that meanness as well. And their characters actually have an arc, apart and together. And it's just such a rewarding script. And like you said, quotable, memorable, it looks great, feels great. It's just we used to make movies, guys. As they say, I mean, it's so cliche, but like when you look at movies, and it's funny because you can say like Rob Reiner isn't a craftsman, but you look at When Harry Met Sally, and you stack it up against some of the absolute goddamn dreck that you'd find like a prime original. It looks like I don't even know it looks like Kubrick, Then that was like, 19, wherever Harry Met Sally, 89, maybe. Then it's kind of like studio fare, point and shoot.
Yeah.
Now, for God's sakes, like, look at this thing. It's tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. So that would be my pick, is When Harry Met Sally. But it's interesting that we all have 3 different picks from Rob Reiner.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I've been reflecting on this, and I'm not somebody who typically takes celebrity deaths really hard. I have a relationship with the art, not with the people, and I'm not one of those people who takes to social media every time, as happens every week, because there are a lot of famous people, and famous people die all the time, and I'm not one of those people who like takes to social media and says, "Oh my gosh, this is devastating," or whatever. But like, this one hits hard because this is a filmmaker that I really admire and really enjoy. And I felt, it's tough news, and yet it's very interesting to see, and just in this conversation, to think about how, I know we're all feeling pretty glum about this shocking tragedy, and yet just in remembering Rob Reiner's films, we've been smiling, we've been laughing. It really lightens the mood, and it's just, I don't know, it's a reminder that the artist creates the body of work that we then get to enjoy forever. Particularly those of us who collect physical media, we can enjoy it forever. But I know there will be a lot of, reappreciation of Rob Reiner's films in the weeks and months and years to come.
That's well said. So sending our condolences, obviously, to the Reiner family, and it's a good opportunity for anybody who hasn't seen Rob Reiner's films to check some of them out. There's like we said, there's something for everybody, and he was a fantastic filmmaker, great director, just a great Hollywood character. Him and his dad, Carl Reiner, who I think is one of the funniest, wittiest, smartest people who ever lived. So we will transition out, and let's talk a little bit about a few things. One is that the Filmographers are going to be live soon at the start of the new year, 2026. On January 4th, we are going to be presenting Double Indemnity. It's going to be fantastic. It's at the Music Box on the big screen, our home away from home. And we will be introducing it. We'll be doing a Q&A after. So if you are in the Chicagoland area, you see, I got my Music Box shirt on now, so we're going to do that. If you're around on January 4th at 11:30 a.m., it's going to be probably, I'm sure, a cold morning. It's a great time. Saturday morning, or is that a Sunday? Here?
It's a Sunday.
Sunday's an even better day to, stumble into the Music Box, warm up in the theater, warm up to Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray on the big screen, Double Indemnity. We hope that you can join us, and we're going to have coasters. We may have pins. We're going to have lots of goodies. It's going to be a great time. Also a great time and a great thing to do is to join our Patreon community. That's the most awkward transitions, but I'm going to just accept it and go, because our Patreon is vital to us being able to just basically cover our costs, but to cover Kevin, our man, Kevin, he's here. You guys we can't ignore him. He's here.
I'm looking right at you guys right now.
Look in his eyes.
Yeah.
You can join for a small monthly amount. You can join for free. You can join absolutely for free, and we still would be very grateful for it. You can join for a small monthly amount, and if you're watching, we have our Filmographers mugs. We have Filmographers stickers. You get access to episodes that don't appear anywhere else. You get ad-free editions of the episodes that do appear everywhere else. There's lots of reasons to join. Also, a good reason is simply to support what we do here at the Filmographers. Support our deep dives. We're in the middle of our season on Billy Wilder, and you don't want to miss a thing. So please join us. It's patreon.com/the Filmographers podcast. Now, we're here to discuss Knives Out. This is the third Knives Out from writer-director Rian Johnson. First is just Knives Out. Second was Glass Onion. And now the third is Wake Up Dead Man. It had a limited theatrical release, but it was just released wide on Netflix. So if you're a subscriber, you can watch it. It's the only way to watch it at this point. And we've all seen it. And I'm very curious of everyone's thoughts because I know everyone is here have seen all three movies. So Kevin, do the honors. Get us rolling. What did you think of Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man?
Well, for context, the first Knives Out is just one of my favorite movies of all time. Just pushes all the right buttons for me. Glass Onion was good enough for me. It missed the secret sauce that I love so much about the first one. So when it came to Wake Up Dead Man, I'm still a big Rian Johnson fan, so I went to the theater to see it, which was my first time seeing a Netflix movie in theaters. Felt more like a hostage negotiation than a celebration of a film's release. But I'm glad that there's a theater near me that now plays Netflix original movies.
It's called Stockholm Syndrome soon, Kevin. I love Netflix.
Oh, no. Yeah, you don't find me saying that anytime soon. I'm glad I got to see this in theaters, and I'm glad I took the effort to go like an hour out of my way to go see it because I really loved Wake Up Dead Man. It brought back the secret sauce that I felt like was missing from Glass Onion. I felt like the plot and mystery structure is some of Rian Johnson's best work as a writer, and as well as a lot of the visuals is some of Steve Yedlin's best work as a cinematographer. A lot of great, interesting lighting gags and cinematography tricks. A lot of really interesting emotional intimacy with the characters in Rian Johnson's direction. And creates a very compelling story that says a lot about our current times without being too on the nose about it, essentially, which makes it a bit timeless.
Keir, what do you got?
Well said. Yeah. So
that's a wrap. We're done.
Yeah,
we're done. It's over.
We're done.
Go home.
Thank
Kevin,
you, everybody.
Go watch Wake Up Dead Man.
Leave it to the producer to make it economical. But
Wake Up Dead Man is still playing in some theaters for a little bit. So
speaking of hostage negotiations.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if you go on the Wake Up Dead Man website, which you can find on like Rian Johnson's social media, it'll show you all the theaters playing it near you.
Well, I sure would have rather seen it in a theater. I did watch it in my very nice home theater, but I would have enjoyed it more on the big screen. Yeah, I like Kevin. I think the first movie is terrific, absolutely terrific. I don't know if it goes on my favorite of all time list, but it's great. It's up there. I love it. It's just it feels like almost a perfect movie. It just the pacing is excellent. The mystery and the reveals. I definitely love that kind of fun, funny, farcical caper movie. That was a movie that really got my son Cosmo. And also the designer of the Filmographers logo and merch. Another shout out to the Filmographers family, but really got him into movies in a big way and sent him in a deep rabbit hole of what can I find that's like this, and maybe that's something we'll talk about later, or maybe we can research a little watch-alikes and record something separate. But so I loved it, and I was so primed for Glass Onion, which I did not love. I just didn't like it. It didn't land for me. It felt ponderous, over-contrived, smug, self-satisfied. It felt like it was assuming our interest and not earning our interest, and I was really disappointed. I didn't hate it, but I think that the bar set by Knives Out is so high that even a middling effort feels worse somehow. But that said, I had high hopes for Wake Up Dead Man, and I liked it. I liked it an awful lot. To me, it's clearly better than Glass Onion. It's not as good as the original. Probably none of the sequels could be, but it's really good. I think that it does a nice job. It's interesting because in Glass Onion, they're going after the smug tech bro played by Edward Norton, this guy with a private island and a fancy house and all that. And it kind of veered into that thing that Mike and I talk a lot about, which is like, look, card carrying liberal here, but it veered into this Hollywood liberalism that just feels a little like hitting us with a hammer. This, I think, clearly had a message, and I don't want to say too much about it because I think people should just experience it. But I think it was handled much more deftly, with much more nuance, and it's making a commentary on our time, but it avoided the earnest Hollywood trope of hitting us with that hammer. So I really appreciated that. I did feel like there were some problems with pacing. I don't know that any comedy or mystery comedy needs to be 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I just don't. We're doing a deep dive on Billy Wilder in season 2, and talk about somebody who knows how to land the plane, how to end the movie. We haven't done Some Like It Hot yet, but you think about the ending of Some Like It Hot. Nobody's perfect. Boom, roll credits. This movie, I thought the first third was impeccable. I thought the second third was very good. I thought the final third, well, the resolution is very satisfying. I just don't know why it needed to be that long. It just felt like an ending that was I don't know. We're kind of craving resolution, and it kind of teased it out. Now they did. Johnson does it in some clever ways, and I was genuinely interested in the mystery throughout. And the way he teases out what actually happened had me going. Maybe after we stop this recording, I have a question about the actual mechanics for you guys that I'm curious about. But overall, really liked it a lot. Mike.
Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts that are basically going to echo what we've already said. I actually found this to be my favorite Knives Out movie, and I'll explain why in a moment. And I will say, I'll start with Glass Onion, because I will be frank, because this ties into, and Kevin knows this already because we've texted about this, because I didn't, let me be clear, I really truly deeply disliked Glass Onion so much that I was afraid to see Wake Up Dead Man, because I'm like, is it like Glass Onion? Because if it is, I'm out. I was like, I'm not even entertaining this. And Kevin's like, no, it redeems it. It doesn't go in that direction. And the thing that I find, I have a complicated relationship with Rian Johnson. I think I really like some of his stuff, and I really struggle with some of his stuff, and I struggle with some of his his attitudes a little bit, and his public persona, which again, I try to separate the art from the artist, but I was like, because as some of you may know, I write Star Wars. I'm really deep into the Star Wars world. So obviously he made a Star Wars movie, and there was a whole thing that lasted forever.
It's still going.
It's still goddamn going. We'll never escape. If you guys wake up and no one's talking about the fucking Last Jedi anymore, know that I have found the magic lamp and I have 2 wishes left. So,
I, for one, love that movie. So
I don't even know how I feel about it. The movie's ruined for me because of capital D discourse.
Well, yeah, that's when you log off social media.
I'm barely on it. Still killed me. But anyway,
yeah,
his attitudes around that I didn't love, and I'll be frank, I don't really dislike Last Jedi. It's not my favorite. It's certainly not a movie that I hate. But his attitudes around it really kind of shook me a little bit in a way that I didn't enjoy. Glass Onion came out off I think that's his first movie after Last Jedi. If I'm not mistaken.
Knives Out. The first Knives Out was right after Last Jedi.
It was.
Yeah,
okay.
Last Jedi was like 2017. And then Knives Out was 2019. Glass Onion
Last
was
Jedi released for 6 years, though.
I mean, like, a lot of people like switched their tone when Knives Out came out. So yeah, but yeah, Glass Onion, I would say maybe, I don't know, if you're still stewing on The Last Jedi during quarantine, then yeah, Glass Onion is right after.
Shrunk the timeline. Yeah, but it felt like it had, like Keir said, and it is kind of reflect, I feel like, Rian Johnson's public attitude at this time. This really smug and really self-satisfied, and I couldn't reconcile, and I can't believe I'm the only person who watched this movie and was like, holy shit, he's making this movie where out of one side of his mouth, he's like, boy, oh boy, aren't rich people stupid and celebrities ridiculous? And at the same time, he's being like, hey, everyone, check out these cool cameos from my celebrity friends. Aren't rich people and celebrities the best? And it's like, which one is it? Because it can't be both. If you want to have Hugh Grant popping up for no reason, just because you like, I can get Hugh Grant in this movie, but at the same time eviscerate that kind of behavior, you're really ruining your message, and so I really the smugness of it all is a barrier I just could not cross. And also I thought the mystery was lazy and haphazard and obvious. I just did not. I thought everything that I really loved that really worked about Knives Out was he tried to kind of do it again. And that's another one of the reasons I love Wake Up Dead Man, because he made 2 movies in a row where it's like, aren't rich people stupid? And it's like, well, yeah, like we know rich people are the worst. So he went to that same well twice and he did it worse. He did the same thing again in Glass Onion and did it far worse and far more with just an annoying panache to it. Wake Up Dead Man is a harder movie. It's harder to say faith is hard. To make a movie that's basically saying faith is difficult. It's difficult to be a good person. I mean, I think the greatest scene in all of, and I'm not going to spoil it, but in all of the Knives Out, the whole trilogy, is Josh O'Connor, who's great in this movie. He is terrific. His phone. Good. I don't know. I know you guys probably know what I'm talking about when he's calling the one woman to get information about I can't even say what, but an order, and she ends up needing to talk to him longer.
Bridget Everett in an amazing cameo. Holy crap!
A great cameo, yeah, yes, and really a wonderful limited performance. And that scene hit me harder than any Knives Out moment. It was so perfect and profound and beautiful. And to make a movie in this day and age where it's not just about like the easy movie that I feel like he's done would have been like Christians are hypocrites. And there is a part of that to that, but he balances it out, which is something I don't think he was able to find in the first 2 Knives Out, which like, yes, people who have wealth are stupid, they're ridiculous, they're craven, they're selfish, they're greedy, etc. But he didn't really balance it out with other than like poor people are better, and like you do with Knives Out. And look, he's right. He's absolutely right. Don't get me wrong. But there's more complexity to be
counterpoint. Oh,
but maybe. But he finds a more depth and being like, yes, Christianity can't be filled with hypocrisy, and it can be filled with people who are acting in ways that are very dangerous. But there's also people who have heart and who have faith, and it's hard and it's difficult, and to persevere is something that's worth admiration. And he really, really hits that so well and so beautifully and so perfectly that I was amazed thematically what he was able to accomplish. I thought the mystery was really cool. I love a locker room mystery. What's kind of cool, and I guess maybe, and I've heard people say this, and you're probably right that the ending is too long, but I'm used to, I read a lot of these books, Golden Age mysteries, Agatha Christie, John Dickinson Carr, who is directly referenced. He's the grandfather of closed door mysteries or closed room mysteries.
Whoever owns the rights to the Carr books is going to be making some money for the next month or 2.
Yeah, no kidding. I couldn't even get the one that they mentioned.
The Hollow Man.
Hollow Man, yeah, which also is it's under a different title though. I think it's under like 3 Graves or 3 Coffins or something like that. In those books, I know Keir, you read these too. Like most of those books, the detective's not even in it. Really, like they appear at the beginning and then they appear again at the end, and then the whole ending is just a long explanation of what happened. Even Agatha Christie, like if you read something like Death on the Nile, one of her most famous, Poirot books, it's let's say it's 320 pages of a novel. 210 are kind of just setting up the characters and like you're waiting for a murder, and then the murder happens. Then it's like 100 pages of just like Poirot, like he knows, but he's not telling you, and he's more or less figured it out. He's kind of toying it for like 100 pages. So like I'm used to that long, extended, we're going to draw out the explanation and reveal this, we're going to eliminate suspect by suspect. So that's something that's kind of like just part of the tradition that I'm used to, that I actually really enjoy, but I can see cinematically how it's a little bit difficult. But I love the movie for the reasons I said. I also, again, I like the way it looked. I love Knives Out looked, and I feel like I'm what's it called? I'm on repeat, broken record here with like talking about how like movies used to have seasons in them. That wasn't just every movie that's made now on goddamn Prime or Netflix or whatever. The season is sunny day. Like that's the season. And Knives Out kind of had, or Glass Onion kind of had that, where it was just like sunny and night, and that's it. Where the first Knives Out felt like fall. You're on this estate, and there's leaves, and they're walking through the mud, and it had that little bit of texture to it. And now this one, Wake Up Dead Man, had that texture as well. And I just loved how these two, the bookends, and hopefully not the bookends. Hopefully he makes more, because I would love for him to make 6, 7, 8 more of these. But the bookends, as it stands right now, felt in a way that also Glass Onion lacked a lot. So I'm a big thumbs up on Wake Up Dead Man.
Well, I mean, in terms of look, I mean, with Glass Onion, keep in mind that was shot during COVID, so
no excuses.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I have a question for you guys about the look.
You're right.
Which is, I thought the framing and the photography, it was great. Like maybe one too many shots of glowing light through a church window, but that's okay. I'll allow it. But it felt to me like, you guys know much more about like the actual process, the technical processes of filmmaking than I do. But it felt to me much more like the quality of it was so pristine. Mm-hmm. Like I like an attempt to make something look a little more like film, and I know there's processes people could do. The Holdovers, was shot on video.
Say that.
Shot on video, but looks like 35 millimeter. Like I know that's, I know that's some sort of, says something psychologically strange about me in our current time or whatever. But I really like that. Like, Wake Up Dead Man looked so pristine that it did feel kind of like digital to me. It just kind of felt more video-y. And I don't really have a point about it, but like, what is the difference? Because I know there's a lot of people, everybody shoots on video now, almost everybody, except our great auteurs who insist on shooting on film, but everybody's shooting on digital. But some people are processing it in a way that just feels a little more film-like or a little more grainy or whatever. And some people like Rian Johnson in this are like, it is flawless. It's pristine. It just feels like you could walk through the mirror into this thing. A, what are your guys' thoughts about that? But B, like, what is he doing differently from anybody else?
So I know, Keir, you watched it on Netflix. So I haven't watched this movie on Netflix yet, but I know that there's a lot of films that look good outside of Netflix. There's just something about Netflix's compression rate that just gives like a plastic sheen on everything. I would imagine if you've watched J. Kelly, which was shot on film, I believe, it was still going to look pretty sharp. But
interesting.
Watching Wake Up Dead Man in a theater, it does look like film. And Steve Yedlin, the director of photography, is one of the leading forces of trying to make digital look more like film. The Last Jedi was his test, where like half of it was shot on 35 millimeter, half of it was shot digital, but you watch the movie and you would never know. Because there'll be even shots cut next to each other in the same location, same scene, and just like, yeah, it looks the same to me. Knives Out was using it in full force, shooting fully digital, making it look like film. Glass Onion, who knows what happened there? But
COVID, it's all COVID.
Netflix requirements and stuff like that. It's a whole. I mean, dealing with Netflix is a whole thing on a cinematography side. But I know Wake Up Dead Man, there was another push again to focus more on like making it look more like film. So again, can't say how it looks on Netflix from my own perspective, but I know watching it in the theater, I was questioning sometimes if it was actually shot in film. Then I remembered, oh yes, if you go on Steve Yedlin's website, he has this whole video series talking about his process of like making film emulation digital. And then there's also some directors or some cinematographers like Greg Fraser, who did Dune Part 2 and The Batman, where he would shoot digital, then the entire movie's edited digital. Then when they have the final version, they print it on film, and then they scan the film back to digital for distribution. So that way you get the workflow of digital and the look and the texture of film in the same go around. And I personally think that's the best method, but there's some people may say otherwise.
That's so interesting. And if it is showing at a theater near me, I want to take the family over the holidays because I want to see it in the theater and see the difference. And also because I think it's well worth watching again. I will happily watch it again. But on watching it on Netflix, it did watching it at home in my living room. It did have this kind of digital sheen. I never did question like, oh, was this shot on film? So
Yeah.
something's going on.
Did you guys watch Frankenstein at home at all, or did you only watch it in the theater?
I watched it in theater.
Yeah, because I know when I watched Frankenstein at home because no theater near me played it. That one, it had a really ugly digital look to it that I haven't heard people talk about who watched it in a theater. So I'm wondering if that same thing happened with Wake Up Dead Man, but I hear it happening a lot with Netflix original movies in general.
I mean, talk about, I do have a question for you guys about getting back to Wake Up Dead Man, but let's just, just talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. What a stupid model. Like, they left probably $500 million between Frankenstein and Wake Up Dead Man on the table, because I went to see, I saw Frankenstein in the theater twice, packed both times.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Wake Up Dead Man. I don't know your experience, Kevin. Packed house.
Mine was not a packed house, but also it's like it was the night before the actual release was supposed to happen at this new theater that just opened up an hour away from me. So, I mean, it was still a pretty busy theater, but that particular screening, not many people showed up.
Well, we did, first of all, do the Lord's work and going an hour away to see a movie in the theater.
Yeah. Look, man, Rian Johnson's one of my biggest inspirations as a filmmaker. So like I gotta see every movie.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like I said, I'm hit or miss, but the movies I love, I truly love. But my question is, and maybe we'll talk a little about Rian Johnson, our favorite Rian Johnson films. But my question for you guys is, why don't we get more? I've always found it very curious. Why don't we get more movies like this? Rian Johnson he's been asked some of his inspirations for Knives Out, and the movies that he's mentioned are like at least 50 years old. There's not a lot. It's funny, and when we get to later in the Wilder season, Billy Wilder did make a Sherlock Holmes movie as one of his passion projects. So we will get to the private life of Sherlock Holmes. It's much later in his career.
I've heard it's one of the best Sherlock Holmes movies still.
Well, when your competition's Guy Ritchie.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But it's funny because I was going to say, you have these classic mysteries, and I was going to make a joke about like Guy Ritchie making Sherlock Holmes, which they're not this at all. I don't know what that's.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's even called Sherlock Holmes. I guess it's because it takes place in 19th century England. I guess that's the tie. But why don't we get more movement? So Rian Johnson recommended The Last of Sheila, and I hadn't seen that before. I watched it, and it's fantastic. I don't know if you guys have seen this. You can see the Knives Out DNA all over this movie.
Yeah, I got to watch that.
Oh, terrific. Listeners, if you haven't seen The Last of Sheila, it's 1976, perhaps. Has a great cast. Same thing. It's all-star cast. Really cool mystery, really cool twists. There's not a detective in it. It's contained within this cast for a very specific reason why they're together. It's really clever. It's really cool, but we don't get just simple and Keir, this, for as much as murder mysteries are proliferated through the book space, we get very few just straight up on television. They exist. There's always a TV show that has there's always a
the
Sherlock
mystery
Holmes
of the week, a TV show.
Yeah, there's always a mystery of the week. We've gone from Columbo, Sherlock Holmes shows, Murder, She Wrote, etc.
Yeah.
But we never get them in cinema, and I'm like, why not? Why don't we get murder mystery movies?
That's a great question. I mean, there's a ton of crime movies. There's a ton of thriller movies. It's so much, action movies that are kind of an offshoot of crime movies. But they're incredibly hard to plot and write effectively, and yet that hasn't stopped, as you pointed out, a generation of TV writers. People who used to just like have that in their locker and could pull it out. And this also gets back to the conversation we have all the time, which is like, why aren't there more of these kind of modest budget films, that could explode, like Knives Out, right? Like that can explode in popularity and like give an exponential return on investment to the people who only care about the money of it and not the art of it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's in itself a mystery, because it's a movie that feels like, yeah, you need a clever script. I don't think you even need an iconic detective. It would be great, but you could, I mean, shit, there's tons. You can go just adapt. How many series of mystery novels with detective driven exist? 1,000. If you don't even want to take the time to create a new one, yeah, like he did with Benoit Blanc. Just adapt one. Shit. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't think there's an answer.
No, the answer is that rich people are dumb and they're the ones that fund all the movies. So.
Oh, shit. I forgot.
Yeah. I forgot this was a business.
But the business is good. But I guess it's like nobody wants to make a potential $20 million profit. They want a $200 million profit.
Oh my God. We can talk about this for hours, where it's like, it's a business of very few people at the top of the ladder, and the fewer people at the top of the ladder there is, the less there's a need for competition. So there's a less strive for quality. It's just more like, just keep making things for people to buy.
Yeah.
And the people at the top of the ladder are not reading, they're not curling up at night with a cozy mystery or a locked room mystery.
Or a book period, other than
a book period.
10 ways to be better.
I mean, we haven't even tapped into again, the Poirot novel, the Poirot movies were successful. Mm-hmm. I mean, the middle one was a COVID movie, but then Haunting in Venice did well. Murder Express did well. I mean,
Kenneth Branagh, I mean, I feel like is kind of I don't know. He's kind of a middle of the road director for me. Sometimes he lands a hit. Sometimes I'm like, all right, that was a movie. But his performance is great though.
Yeah, he's a great Poirot. I love those movies. I mean, the middle one has the misfortune of having maybe the worst cast in cinema history. Like, it just had, like, at the time, like, everybody who was like on the oust. It had like Armie Hammer. It had the woman from Black Panther. What's her name? Had
Letitia Wright. Yeah.
Gal Gadot. Like, it had like all the villains in Hollywood were in one.
It is like it was made right before they became villains too, or right before they were outed as villains, I should say.
Yes. Yeah.
Although, if you're trying to, pack your movie with suspects, potential. I mean, maybe he knew something that the rest of us didn't know.
Well, that's when he should have adapted, and then there were none. So
it's like that scene in The Simpsons where the Earth is being destroyed, and Homer and Bart sneak onto a plane, and they realize they're on the death plane because they look around, they see all the celebrities. They're like, "Oh no, it's this terrible celebrity, this terrible, like Tom Arnold." And they're like, "That's the cast of Death on the Nile." But he survived it and made Haunting in Venice, which is maybe the best one of the three. Okay. All right, so we're kind of wrapping up. I'm gonna ask you guys 2 questions. One, does Rian Johnson make a 4th Knives Out? And what is your favorite Rian Johnson movie?
I'll let Kevin have the last word since Johnson is definitely Kevin's guy. I think I suspect this film is going to be extremely. I mean, it's been out for a while, but and I've kind of avoided reading anything about it because I had not seen it until this weekend. But I suspect it'll be very well received. It'll be continued interest in the franchise. So I suspect he'll make another one. I hope it's as good as this one and it's not a glass onion. And my favorite Rian Johnson movie is Brick. I don't want to be like the hipster cut, like, oh, back in the old days. But I just, that was a movie that when I saw it just felt like a revelation. You have that sense of excitement and recognition when you see a film by a filmmaker that you're not familiar with or a newer filmmaker, and you're like, oh my God, this is original. I definitely, as somebody who, love film noir and love to see like a new take on it. It was revelatory. It was so exciting. It was just like, it was genius. Like, oh my God, high school students. And I liked the bold choice of giving them this kind of like weird argot, this snappy patter that just felt nothing like the way high schoolers would actually talk. And yet by the end of the movie, you're like, of course, this is the way they actually talk because you've entered into the reality of this movie. It's if you haven't seen, anybody listening to or watching this, if you haven't seen Brick, do yourself a favor. It's an absolute gem. It's a sleeper. It's a cult classic. It's worthy of your time and attention. And that's definitely my favorite. But Knives Out would be a close second.
Yeah, I'm actually with you, and I think it's a good idea. Like Kevin Close, this is his spotlight with Rian Johnson. I hope he makes a fourth, and if he doesn't, maybe he can turn it into novels. With a couple of novelists here taking the reins. Why not? But it's funny because I was thinking about this with Brick and Knives Out, and it seems like in a way Rian Johnson's at his best is when he's taking something he obviously loves and reinventing it. Brick is just a Dashiell Hammett book that's like reimagined in a high school setting, and it has a great script, has a great story. It's like you said, Keir, it's just an old timey kind of Black Mask. Is that the publisher, right? Black Mask? No.
Black Mask was an old pulp magazine.
Yeah.
Like gold medal paperbacks or.
Yeah. That kind of that space of old pulpy detective novels like Dashiell Hammett, and taking that, I don't think it's quite. I think it's been called postmodern. I would disagree. I don't think he is like dismantling the tropes. I think he's lovingly just kind of recontextualizing them. Same thing with Knives Out. It's just an Agatha Christie book. That's it. And it's great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not to diminish it in any way. But he clearly has a love for it and a sharp eye and a keen way of making it his own. And he does it terrifically. Benoit Blanc, Hercule Poirot. Even the name sounds alike. He knows what he's doing, but he's making it his own. And that seems to be when he shines. And Knives Out is close. Knives Out Wake Up Dead Man is close, but I would say Brick is my favorite. Kevin, I think I know, but go ahead.
Funny that you guys mentioned Brick. So if anyone wants to look at the Filmographers social media, we should have one of our gift guide videos up, which I talk about Brick as a potential Christmas gift for any Filmographers fans. Mostly because of the, obviously Wake Up Dead Man came out. Everyone's loving it. Keir, by the way. People are saying it's their favorite one. I'm more in the camp of where it's my second favorite one. But yeah, the Brick on, if you get it through Kino Lorber, there's a really great commentary track on it that I highly recommend. But Brick is not my favorite Rian Johnson film. It is Knives Out, the first one. It's in my Letterboxd top 4. Like I said, it pushes all the right buttons for me. It is a great Agatha Christie inspired mystery. It has a lot of interesting social commentary to it. It's at the end of the day, it's a story about empathy and kindness that I personally love seeing movies be about. And it just has that nice, cozy fall vibe to it that I really enjoy too. And I think the cast is fantastic. And watching it in theater for the first when it came out, it was just a huge surprise to me. But I love all of Rian Johnson's other movies. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. The Last Jedi is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. In terms of whether or not Rian Johnson should make a fourth Knives Out, I mean, I think he should. I know he wants to make more. As of right now, I think his contract with Netflix is done in terms of Knives Out specifically. So I don't exactly know who the true IP holder of Knives Out is. It sounds like Rian Johnson might still own the IP of outside, as long as it's out a different title from the other two movies. Because I think that's part of the reason.
Sure He does. I'm pretty sure you're correct.
Yeah, because I think that's part of the reason why it's like each movie has a different title to it. Because even though they're technically the same franchise and there's no returning cast members outside of Daniel Craig, it's just so that way he can protect the IP and he can shop it around to other places as needed. But Netflix still will own Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man. That's my understanding of that contract.
Although there is a reoccurring actor, his buddy Noah. I forget his name. He's the bartender in Wake Up Dead Man. He's the one of the detectives in the original Knives Out, and I don't remember Glass Onion. I've deleted from my mind.
So and you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt's voice cameos in each movie.
Oh yes, that's right. So there is some little continuity there.
A little bit, even though they referenced the Jeremy Renner app in Glass Onion, and then Jeremy Renner is in Wake Up Dead Man.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I will add, I don't know how you feel this, Kevin, but I will add, I will say don't sleep on Brothers Bloom. I think Brothers Bloom is terrific.
Brothers Bloom is really good. Yeah.
A fun little heist movie.
Yeah.
Weird.
That one's like definitely an underrated Rian Johnson film. Highly recommend people checking that out. Wherever you can find it. I had to struggle to find the DVD for that one.
That's a bummer. Great cast.
It wasn't very big when it came out, to my knowledge.
No, it's like his sophomore slump, basically, because I think after that was Looper, if I'm not mistaken.
Looper was after that. I'm personally not as big on Looper. Looper might be my least favorite Rian Johnson movie, but I think it would require a rewatch from me to be sure.
Yeah, it's okay. Looper's okay. Well, I think we're all agreed. A big thumbs up on Wake Up Dead Man, the Knives Out mystery. See it on the big screen if you can. Opportunities are limited. There's a small movie called Avatar coming out this Friday, which is going to squash all competition. So
talk about your independent cinema. You want movies to look like real movies again. There you go.
I just saw an interview with Jim Cameron. They talk about something about his frame rate that he's using. I don't know.
Oh, he's playing with frame rate again on this one?
He's doing something with it. I don't know to what extent. People are like, what do you, people haven't been crazy about it. And Cameron said, well, it's my movie and I like it, so who cares?
Honestly, respect.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love Jim Cameron's bluntness has always been a thing about him that I love. But I'm excited to see the new Avatar, I'll be frank. But see it if you get a chance. If not, it is streaming on Netflix. I doubt a physical media releases in the future, even though it's puzzling because Netflix does have its relationship with Criterion. They've released some Criterion releases, but not Glass Onion. So I don't know if these will ever see a physical release, unfortunately. So see it in the theater if you can. Stream it on Netflix if you must. But watch it. We recommend it. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, gentlemen?
I don't think we'll violate any trademark if we say, 3 thumbs up. I think we can do that.
3 thumbs up. Here we go.
3 thumbs up.
Oh, and then another Rian Johnson project that I highly recommend, Poker Face. Both seasons. Great show.
Oh, that's right.
Poker Face is good.
Yeah. Mystery of the week. Well, we thank you everyone for joining us for this Go to the Movies episode. And as always, we recommend, encourage, beg, plead, whatever word you want to use. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/the Filmographers podcast. Get the entire Filmographers experience, ad-free episodes you won't find anywhere else. Join us for our Billy Wilder season. And if you are interested in Steven Soderbergh, catch up on all of the archives where we have every episode that we recorded over season 1, looking at the career of Steven Soderbergh. Thank you to our producer, Kevin Lau, who joined us today, a holiday treat. Thank you, Kevin, for being here. Thank you to Gompson, who recorded and played our theme music. Thank you to Cosmo Graff, who designed our logo and our merch. And thank you, all of you, for being here. We appreciate you joining us on our journey. We appreciate you just being here with us to listen and talk about movies. And speaking of talking, if you ever have any questions, thoughts, comments, reach us at the Filmographers podcast at gmail.com. Leave us a rating or review on your podcasting platform of choice, and we will see you soon with our Patreon only, speaking of Patreon, exclusive release where we talk about The Shop Around the Corner, the Ernst Lubitsch movie that inspired Billy Wilder, and the movie that remade it, one of the movies that remade it, 1998's You've Got Mail, directed by Nora Ephron. So until then, thank you for joining us. See you next time.